Well, I did not know this, but this week, just found out, is Electric Vehicle Week in Quebec, and Équiterre has a running electric campaign going on now. They're trying to convince you to make your next vehicle electric. With more on this, Colleen Thorpe joins me. She's the Interim Executive Director for Équiterre. Colleen, good morning.
Good morning, Elias.
So listen, I got to be honest. I was a little surprised, knowing Équiterre, that the line isn't, hey, just ditch your car completely. And you're like, hey, you know what? You can have a car, but go electric. Why this initiative?
Well, at Équiterre, obviously, we've been promoting active and collective transportation. So as much as possible, take your bike and also take public transportation. But we do realize that many places in Quebec, there's no public transportation. It's not adapted for bicycles, and people do use cars. So if you're going to use a car, you may as well use an electric car. And that got us sort of working on different campaigns on the electric vehicle, because there's different opportunities with the electric vehicle in terms of environmental impacts, because it is cleaner and it does reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So we thought, how can we promote this a bit more and get involved in the landscape? And that's when the idea came that we would partner up with different groups and create this running electric campaign.
Okay, so it sounds like a great plan, but of course, for a lot of people, they get a real big hurdle right in the way of that, and that is the cost. What's the state of the cost of buying an electric vehicle in Quebec?
Well, it's never been more advantageous than to buy an electric vehicle now, because we have provincial subsidies, which we've had for a little while already, but it's been recently increased with a federal subsidy. So in total, someone buying an electric vehicle could benefit from up to $13,000 of subsidies, which starts to bring many cars on par with gas-powered cars. So this becomes much more interesting, because obviously also when you ride the vehicle, you save enormous amounts in terms of petroleum consumption.
What are your thoughts on if these rebates are really the best way of getting people to buy electric cars? Because, and this is pushback that I am on board with as well. You're giving people, $13,000 of rebates to buy a $55,000 car. These are expensive cars, and it seems to me it's sort of like helping out rich people buy fancy cars. Is there another way of doing this?
That's a very good point that you have. So the idea of the incentive is to have this incentive as a temporary measure to give a bit of a push to change the game, and to have a number of cars and a number that have the demand go up, and therefore have the price of the cars come down. So different governments throughout the world have sort of looked at these types of incentives, and that's been chosen by the provincial government and also by the federal government. But we can imagine that these subsidies will disappear once we have more electric vehicles on the road. So the target for the province right now is 100,000 vehicles, and we're at 45,000.
Okay.
And I guess what we really have to remember in all of this is that we should not choose an oversized car. So this is a problem with gasoline cars, and this is also a problem with electric cars. So we really, if we want to have the least environmental impact, then we should be looking for a car that really meets our needs, and not just think, okay, I'm going to buy a car for that one time when I go on holiday and I have to put so many things in it, but really think about it. How am I using it on a daily basis? And that's when we choose the right type of vehicle.
Okay, and on that topic, you actually have a really interesting campaign/website, this Running Electric, Roulant Electric website.
I'm happy you like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just trying it just a few moments ago, and it goes, you basically, you put in how much you drive, and, even things like how many seats you need in your vehicle, and a whole bunch of other factors, and it tries to help you find one of the models that are available on the market.
Yeah, so this is really what we thought about, because there's a lot of education to come forth in this shift. And the early adopters are very techie people. And if you look at people who own electric vehicles, even like electric bikes as well, they really like to talk to you about the technology, and they have all the answers. Those are the early adopters. But, as we look now to make it more accessible to everyone, well, we have all of these questions, and we need a simple way to answer these questions. What is the best type of vehicle? vehicle and what will my savings be. So this website really makes it a lot easier because you have, first of all, the opportunity to book a test drive, and we could talk about the test drives later. But then you also have all the information that will give you the data you need to make the proper decision. So what type of cars exist, where do you get the subsidy, when does the economy come in, how much does a charging station cost. So all of these nuts and bolts information is there on one site, and it's a pretty website as well.
Yeah. So this week you're making it easier to get those electric vehicle test drives?
Well, this is really new. We've never had so many groups working together, and especially the car dealerships. So before you had a situation where there were a few models and people would want to come and try a vehicle, but the model was not necessarily there. And now we've seen things shift, and we've also seen the knowledge of the car dealerships increase. So with this week, we have 85 car dealerships throughout the province of Quebec who are participating, and these car dealerships have also gone through training. So when someone is at the car dealership, they can really correctly answer your questions, because the shift has to happen in the population, but it also has to happen in the car dealerships, and this is what we see happening.
And what about the charging stations, Colleen? Are we there yet in the province? You're talking about areas that don't have public transit. Do they have the charging stations necessary?
Well, Hydro-Quebec has been very quickly on board with this project, and this is also one of the reasons that it's such a good choice to have an electric vehicle in Quebec, because we do have hydroelectricity and we do have charging stations throughout the province. So we have 1,500 charging stations right now and 125 fast charge stations. And we also have a government program to help employers increase the charging stations in the workplace. And I'm sure a lot of your listeners probably have workplaces already where their employers have charging stations.
Colleen, I got to put you on the spot, and I'm going to ask you this question. What are you driving?
Oh, my God. You know what? I'm driving a bike all year round.
Oh, okay.
And I walk, but it's not exactly true, because I have a vehicle that I'm going to get rid of because my kids are all grown up. So I don't have an electric vehicle, but I'm not looking for another vehicle. I'm just going to go bike, and my spouse has an electric vehicle.
Oh,
not
okay.
an electric vehicle, sorry, an electric bike. So we're
Okay.
bike all the way. But we live in the city center where we have public transportation and we have all this access. So
Yeah.
I think that's not the case for everyone.
Colleen Thorpe, Interim Executive Director for Équiterre. Thanks for the time this morning.
Okay, nice talking to you, Elias.